Welcome to video lectures on IGNOU MBA. This is course number 4 MS04 Accounting and Finance for Managers. In this video, we are going to see unit number 11, topic number 4, Objectives of the Firm. In the previous video, we have already seen Introduction to Financial Management, Scope of Financial Management and different types of finance functions. Let us jump to the topic 11.4 Objectives of the Firm. Right. In the previous video, we have seen two approaches to financial management. One is traditional approach, the other is modern approach. In the modern approach, a financial manager has to take decisions on investment, financing and dividend. Investment decision means where to invest the money and in what amounts. Financing decision means from where the money has to be brought, from where the money has to be raised. Dividend decision means when to pay the dividends and how much. These three decisions are very important for a financial manager. These aspects relate to the firm's investment, financing and dividend policies. In order to meet them rationally, the firm must have an objective. It is generally agreed that the financial objective of the firm should be maximization of owners' economic welfare. So to meet these three major decisions, the firm should have a proper objective. Generally, any company is said to be operating with the objective of profit maximization. There are two objectives generally defined. One is profit maximization and the other is wealth maximization. So profit maximization, what is this concept of profit maximization? According to this concept, actions that increase the firm's profit are undertaken while those that decrease profit are avoided. The objective of a firm should be to increase the profits. This concept says that increase the profits. That should be the objective. The profit can be maximized either by increasing output for a given set of input or by reducing the cost of production for a given output. How can we increase profits? You reduce the cost of production or increase the output with a particular input. In a perfect competition scenario, profits generally reflect the efficiency of the firm, economic efficiency of the firm. Therefore, it is argued that profitability maximization or profit maximization should be the basic criterion for any management decision or for any company. But why is this profit maximization concept not taken forward? The profit maximization criterion has been questioned and criticized on the following grounds. It is vague, it ignores the timing of benefits and ignores risk. Why it is vague? Because the concept itself is profit maximization, but it did not define which profit to be maximized. We have to maximize the final profit figure or before the tax profit figure, gross profit figure, rate of return, which one? This concept did not clearly define which profit is to be maximized. Next, it ignores the timing of benefits. Money has a time value. 100 rupees today is not equal to 100 rupees tomorrow or day after tomorrow or the next year. 100 rupees 1 year after is very less compared to 100 rupees today. There is inflation, there is a rate of interest, everything is there. So, this time value of money is not taken when we look at only the final figure of profit. Because of time value of money, the cash inflows and their valuation is not taken into consideration while focusing on profits alone. The final profit figure should not be the only consideration. If that is only considered, the cash flows, their time value will be ignored. It ignores the third criticism against profit maximization concept is that it ignores risk. Certainty of return and risk involved is ignored if the motto is profits alone. Come what may, we must get profits. This will become the main motive of the company. They will invest in any risky portfolio and they may lose if the motive is only profit. Okay, the quality of investment should also be considered. So From the above discussion, it is clear that profit maximization concept is inappropriate to a firm from the point of view of financial decisions like investment decision, finance decision, and dividend decision. It is not only vague, ambiguous, but also does not recognize the two concepts like risk and time value of money. Therefore, the most appropriate decision or operational decision for any company should be precise and exact. It should consider both quality and quantity dimension of the receipts, means cash inflows. It should be based on the bigger and better principle, and it should recognize the time value of money. So such a concept is wealth maximization. Wealth maximization means this objective states that any company should try to maximize the value of the company for its owners, because owners are investing money into the company, and the board of directors' objective should be to maximize the value of the company. The wealth maximization goal states that the management should seek to maximize the present value of the expected returns of the firm. So here is the concept of present value, discount rate. We will see now. The present value of future benefits is calculated by using its discount rate that reflects both time and risk. What is this discount rate and how it is calculated? Okay, we will see. Normally, companies will not get incomes immediately. Suppose if a company puts 100 rupees, it doesn't expect to get the returns immediately. Normally, generally the amount they invest, the projects in which the companies invest will spread over a period of time. They will be getting incomes or the revenues on the projects in which they invest. They will be staggered. They will be spread over different years, and they will be getting returns at various points of time. For example, let's take a pen and draw a line here. Okay, this is the starting point, time 0. This is the end of the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. Suppose a company has raised money from different sources like equity, debt, bonds, corporate bonds, commercial papers, equity, debt, corporate bonds, commercial papers, from different sources, banks. Company has raised money from different sources like this, and it has brought the capital. Now it has to invest in a project. This project is estimated to be spread over 5 years. The company estimates it will get certain amount at the end of every year, like $10,000 at the end of first year, $20,000 at the end of second year, $30,000 at the end of third year, $40,000 at the end of fourth year, $50,000 at the end of fifth year. Like this the company estimates. Now, for example, if it is investing $2 lakh initially, the present investment outgo from the company is estimated is $2 lakh initially. Now, we cannot straight away add all these amounts and say that 50 plus 40, 90 plus 30, 120, 140, $150,000 is the income that we are getting. No, it is not like that. $10,000 after 1 year is not equal to $10,000 today. Okay, this has a time value. Okay, we have seen earlier in our childhood classes, A is equals to P into 1 plus R to the power of N. This is the formula for compound interest. A means amount, P means principal amount or present amount, and R is interest, N is the number of years. Suppose if you have 100 rupees and the rate of interest is 10%, after 2 years, how much will be the amount when it is compounded like this? Then 100 into 1 plus 10% whole to the power of 2. This will be the amount after 2 years. Suppose if you are given that after 2 years you are getting 150 rupees and you don't know the present value and the rate of interest is 10%, this calculation of this amount is called the present value. Okay, you understood now? After 2 years you are going to get 150 rupees. You don't know how much value you have at present, but the rate of interest given is 10%. So using this formula we can calculate the present value. Like this 10,000 rupees will have to be converted into the present value at a certain rate of interest. At what rate of interest? The company is getting money from share market, from bond market, from corporate bond market, from commercial papers, from banks, and the company has to pay interest to them. The company will calculate average of all these interest rates, how much it is going to pay to them, going to pay back to them, and will calculate an average, and that average will be taken for this calculation. If that average comes to 8.5%, for example, okay, so the company is going to get 150 rupees after 2 years. It doesn't know the present value, and the average it is calculated is 8.5%. This X will be calculated, right? At present, for example, it is investing 2 lakh rupees, means the cash is going out from the pocket of the company, and after 2 years it is getting 150 rupees. The present value will be 150. Okay, this cash it is getting, so we are adding this to the present outflow. Like this, after 1 year how much, after third year how much, after fourth year how much, we add all those things. If this net value is positive, then the investment is considered to be a good investment. If this total value is negative, it means that your investment, initial investment, is more than what you are getting after some years. If it is positive, means your investment is less than what you are getting from the rest of years. So if it is positive, it is a good investment. If it is negative, it is a bad investment. So essentially what it is telling is, if you choose any project to invest, the project should give a positive return. How do you calculate whether it is giving a positive return or a negative return? Using this discount rate. This is nothing but the cost of capital, or simply the weighted cost of the capital. What is the cost of capital? How much it is going to pay back to the providers of money to the company. Who are all providing money to the company? Shareholders are providing, bond market people are providing, corporate bonds are providing, commercial papers are providing, banks are providing, all these sources are providing money to the company, and the company has to pay back to them. So what the company does is take an average of all these sources and get one rate. Using that rate, we calculate this formula. From this formula, A is equals to P into 1 plus R whole to the power of N. From this formula, we are calculating this X, the present value. Okay, this present value should be, the sum of all the present values should be positive compared to the initial investment. Okay, so this should be the objective of any firm. Okay, this is the concept of wealth maximization. The formula is also given here. You ignore this point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, and straight away look at this formula. This is nothing but, you simply see, this is the present value after 1 year. This is present value, I will draw here. This is the present value after 1 year. In the formula, A is equals to P into 1 plus R to the power of N. This part is taken here. Okay, taken here. Okay, then this is shown here. Okay, see, A by 1 plus R to the power of 2, A by 1 plus R power 3, A by 1 plus R power 4, like this, A by 1 plus R to the power of N. If the project is for N years, the cash inflows will be estimated for the present time. At present, what is the value of the future amount that I am going to get? But there is a small problem here. This estimation is just an estimation. Okay, there is no guarantee that the company is definitely going to get this amount A2 after 2 years, this amount AN after N years, this amount A1 after first year. Okay, this is only an estimation, a projection made by the company before beginning the project. Here C0 is the initial investment. Okay, or we can say it is the cost of the project also. C0 is the cost of the project. This W is the net wealth of the firm, the difference between the present value of stream of expected benefits and the present value of cash flow. From this, it is abundantly clear that wealth maximization criterion recognizes the time value of money and also tackles the risk. How is it calculate? How is it tackling risk? Sometimes we can multiply with this a probability. Suppose we are unsure that there is only 50% chance that second year amount will be coming. Then we can add with multiply this amount with 50%. Okay, because there is only half the chances. Suppose there is only 75% chances that the third amount will come. Then we multiply with 75% A3 by 1 plus R power 3. The third year amount, whatever we are projecting that the third year amount, when it is to be converted into the present value and there are only 75% chances that the third year amount is coming, then multiply with the 75%. So risk is also involved. Okay, uncertainty of the expected benefits. That is why it is rightly said that maximization of wealth is more useful than minimization of profits as a statement of objective of most business firms. So the objective of any firm should be wealth maximization and not profit maximization. Here it is given wrong. It is not minimization, maximization. Maximization of profits is not, it should not be the motto of maximization of profits should not be the motto, whereas maximization of wealth should be the motto. I hope you understood about this topic 11.4 objective of the firm. Stay tuned for other videos. Bye bye.